Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the conclusion of Women's Month. 5 weeks. I love when the men had 5 weeks and we had 4. But just so happened 2016, we had 5. And we made it through. So I want to give thanks to all of the women who stepped up, especially those that did some overtime. I want to thank you men who held us in high watch and who supported us through our Women's Month. I especially want to thank our veterans. Will all veterans stand? Your sacrifice, your courage, and your strength to go forward, to sacrifice your life that our lives may be safe. I want all of the families of a veteran to stand. I want to thank you for standing in the gap while your loved one, your veteran, go and serve its country. So to you who held down the fort, thank you. Let's give them some love. I am not going to comment on our Reverend Gerald. He lets me be me, I'm going to let him be me. And I just hope that you maneuver through. Amen. Expect, embrace, and enjoy has been our theme. We have spoken on the feminine energy, the balance of the mother, father, God that's within us. We have spoken on the feminine energy that moves and weaves itself through all of us, because the feminine energy is that nurturing, compassionate, loving side of each of us. And this month, it gives our men the opportunity to realize that the feminine energy in you is nothing but the balance of God for humanity. Doesn't make you weak or soft or passive to acknowledge your feminine energy. Because with your strength and your courage and your wisdom comes compassion, nurturing, and love. Perfect balance. Amen? Amen. Mother, Father, God within each. We've been reminded of what is to expect, and that is to be sure of some good to arrive, unfold, and make itself known in our experience. If you're not expecting good, how can it ring your doorbell? To embrace is to wrap our beingness around that expected good. To enjoy is to be grateful for the good. And not just be grateful and appreciative, but sit in it. Sit in it and allow it to fill your entire being. When you go to buy a house, when you go to buy a car, when you're trying to choose a mate, you go and you sit in it. All right now. You want to feel what the energy is about.
That's right. That's true.
You want to know what you're signing up for.
That's right.
And so often we skip some steps. We'll leave that one alone too. Third Sunday this month, Jewel Diamond Taylor came and talked about the transition of her son for a parent, it's unthinkable. But if we think about it, it's happening more and more than we've ever been aware that parents are losing their children. But wherever we are, whatever happens, God is there. So Jewel, in her grieving, she trusted God. She expected healing. And she embraced the idea that her son completed his assignment, and his purpose, and that the universe requested his spiritual presence. So can we imagine that no matter our loved ones, that's why it impedes us to love today, this moment, to say the things and not hold it, because we never know when our time. Jesus was only here for 33 years, but in that 33 years, he gave us much.
Yes.
And we have parents. My mom died at 56. But because of her, and even through her alcoholism, here I am standing today, teaching and speaking and preaching.
Right.
So a life and a soul, there's a part of us that can never be tainted. That part of us which is God, made in the image and likeness of. So whoever comes into your life, appreciate them for their purpose and their assignment.
Yes.
Get all you can get.
Yes.
For it will add to your assignment and your purpose.
Yeah.
There is nothing negative for right where you are, God is. Negativity is only because you thought of it. Somebody told you that. God did not say negativity. God did not say negative at all. God said, this is good.
Yes.
My God, this is very good. So we need to take that. Humans have deemed it wrong.
Right.
Negative.
Right.
If we could just turn everything into good. We just got the text from Sister Bobo about Brad Bobo, who plays when Trevor is gone, that they were going to do surgery on him for a brain tumor. But the church and his wife prayed for him.
Yes.
And then he went in and they couldn't even find a tumor.
That's right.
Tumor said prayer and belief and trust. True. So with Jules expected healing and trusting in God and embracing the idea that there was a higher calling for her son, she was able to enjoy his spirit around her. Everyone that you've loved and that has moved on, their spirit stays. The body has to lay itself down at some point, but the spirit still stays alive. That's the part of us that's eternal. So now Jewel is able to enjoy the spirit of her son and tell the story to help others. That's why we are here, because God passed the baton. Jesus, our master teacher, passed the baton that we're able to tell a story. If everybody left not thinking anything, how could you pass a story? If we allow it, everything works together for our good. Those of us that love the Lord and that trust the law. The law of spiritual workings. Last week, Dr. Regina reminded us of spiritual power that we possess. And that power can work for us whether we need Windex because our issues are light, or whether we need a shovel because it's a little deeper, or whether we need a jackhammer because it's deep. And let's face it, We got a lot of deep issues.
Yes.
And those deep issues come out in our everyday life because we've been carrying them. It could be when you were in the womb, you heard things. We got to remember, life starts
That's right. Yes. Yes.
as an embryo. And then as a child, we heard things and we saw things. We got counselors and teachers that maybe did not know better and told us things that we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that and we wasn't this and we wasn't that. But God told us in the beginning that we're all that. So when we come to a space like this, when we listen to our tapes, when we affirm our truth, when we pray, when we meditate, we are reminding ourselves that no matter what nobody says, God says that we can and we will if we expect, if we embrace, and if we can enjoy. As I think of this month's messages, we mainly spoke of the good and the positive of expecting and embracing and enjoying. But I want to remind you today that these sentiments can also work in reverse. Sometimes we expect trouble to lurk around the corner. Sometimes we get dressed for church as pretty as we are, and we say to ourselves, they better not say nothing to me. They better not look at me in a certain way. You laughing, it must be true. So we can expect for people to do us wrong because they've been doing us wrong. But let me remind you that as you change, as I change, how come we can't expect for others to change? How come we can't get dressed and say, you know what, because I prayed, I know that this one and that one gonna get along.
That's right.
Because if you don't expect it, how is it gonna show up? When you order something, you looking for UPS and the post office to deliver.
Yeah.
And they may not make it.
That's right.
But God will deliver every time, on time. Do we expect for our circumstances to not get better? When you get a diagnosis and the doctor, not our Dr. Payne, but other doctors, when they pour on your diagnosis and they make it seem as if you don't get these 5 prescriptions, you ain't gonna make it. For some, they think it's their job to tell you just how bad it is. And when people want sympathy, they tell you their story and they make it as bad as it can be for sympathy. That's just our human trait because that's what we've learned to do. That's not what we're made of, but that's what we've learned to do. And we come here to unlearn what is not in our best interests.
All right.
So expecting and embracing and enjoying means that we got to turn our minds around. We cannot keep looking for the outside to feed us. When we're created from the invisible. And because of God, made visible. So your healing, your financial success, your prosperity, your enriched relationships gotta come from the inside. Gotta come from you. For our young ones that's trying to get in school, in college, they need us to inspire them so that when they go and talk to that counselor, they have what they need. The energy, the vibration of goodness to speak to the financial officer.
That's right.
That when they leave there, they got a contract to get in school.
That's right.
We cannot leave our young ones out in the cold.
That's right.
Work on ourselves, but as we work on ourselves, let's know that we're going to leave this generation better than what we.
That's right. Right.
Expect something greater. Regardless of what you see, regardless of what you feel, there is something greater. Something greater. That greater that rises the sun, that holds the stars, that opens a flower, that beats your heart even though you sit here and you're not doing a thing to facilitate it. You're breathing, but you were programmed to breathe, and all you're doing is and still sitting. So when you sit and life can unfold, that tells us infinite possibilities.
Yes.
And then we talk about enjoying. We're talking about the reverse. Some people enjoy misery.
Yeah. True.
It says misery loves company. We don't like to say that I'm that one, but it couldn't exist without us. You're silent, man. You laugh when it's good, but when it touches a nerve, we're quiet because we contemplate. Our faith and expectation of the good that was already promised determines our testimonies or our complaints. We get to choose. Our faith assists us in drawing to us that which is unseen. There is something in the invisible that we can't see, the good that created the heavens and the earth, and that power and that choice was bestowed upon each of us. And we get to choose today whom we will serve. Our faith is the faculty in the human mind that perceives new concepts for expressing new and original creative ideas. So that means when you do get a diagnosis, when you're feeling sick, when you have pain, when there's turmoil and confusion and the appearance of lack, we get to call forth something new. Because it's a little bitty seed.
That's right.
Has within it everything to produce a harvest. And it's a little bitty seed. And we were created out of the image and likeness. That means the greatness of God's creation. God is first cause, we're second cause. And everything else is after us. Speak on it, Asa. So if first cause gave us its power, then second cause must have all its need to live a life abundantly.
Yes.
And it's only our thinking because somebody told us differently that we can't.
That's right.
Choose whom you're going to serve from now on. Health or sickness. Prosperity, success, or lack. Confusion and turmoil, or peace. And it's time that we stop pointing the finger at somebody else. I'm mad because they did this and they said that. That's your excuse for not standing up in your owness. When there is health challenges, faith will weave new patterns to bring about wholeness. That's energy. That energy that did all the things that I said. That energy that carries a baby most times 9 months. There's an energy. There's a power. There's an intellect that knows all things. So when you have issues and challenges and trials and tribulations, if you train your mind to think something different, that energy starts to weave a new pattern. Testimonies don't just come because it starts with a T. Testimonies come because your mind started thinking a different thought. Can you expect more for your life? Can you expect your family, your relationships, that person on your job, to have a better relationship with them? And you can't wait for them to change. Since you want to change, it got to be you first.
Right.
I'm expecting something different in my life. Therefore, when you expect different, everything that comes your way is going to be different. Because you expected it, you believe in it, you trust in it, you have faith in it. Quit waiting for other people to change, especially when you ain't changed.
Right.
You sit there waiting on Listen, faith is the most important and distinguishing power. Its use is essential if we expect to obtain that which we desire. We are constantly using this faculty to shape good or the not so good or the indifferent. We're taking the invisible power and shaping it to the visible. You couldn't sit in this chair unless somebody had a vision and then work towards it. So if that comes with as simple as a chair, so does it with your health, your relationships, your peace, your abundance, your success. All that we have is dormant in here until we use it.
Yes, yes.
You can't bake a cake until you take the flour and butter out and mix it up. I mean, this stuff is so simple. But we've made it challenging.
Yeah.
Because we hear so much outside stuff. And our master teacher said, look, I'm going to just get on the cross so y'all can just see that you don't have to depend on all this stuff out here. You are good enough. You are good enough to bring about a change. That's why we marvel at our Martin Luther Kings and all of those sages and avatars that came at your Dr. Ronnies and your OCs and all of the people that we remember and we hold dear and we marvel at. But can we remember that they have no more of God in them than we have in us? Some people are willing to step just a little bit higher and just a little bit deeper. I think Martell sent me something and it says that the mud and the trouble is only as deep as the one who thinks about it. And they had a dog who was tall and the mud only came here. And they had a dog that was short and the mud came here. But they still have equal opportunity to step up out of the mud. So we like to take our circumstances and say, oh, but this is what I went through. Oh, this is what's happening to me. You still got the same power as the other person. Faith is not only an intellectual process based on reasoning. Faith doesn't need to compare or analyze or draw conclusions from known premises. Faith is not bound by considering only appearances. Faith thinking requires our knowledge and expectation because it is a connection to the mind of God, to the infinite awareness, spiritual truth. Faith thinking is a deliberate effort to tune into the omniscience, wisdom of spirit, that we may perceive and receive fresh solutions to our everyday situations, challenges, and dreams. Our expectations of good, our embracing of good, our enjoyment of good can lead to more of the same. You can go a year or 2 or 3 without no issues if you choose to. But if you expect thus and so, you expect for the bank to not honor your loan, you expect for the bank to not give you your loan mod, you expect for your business to go down because it ain't looking good. Can you give it a new idea? You are in charge. You started the business, finish the business, and let it be successful. Amen.
Amen.
To expect is not to pray just to God as a beggar, but to pray as God. Because Jesus said, I and my Father are one.
Yes.
Yes.
That allows the stream of spiritual truth to flow through whatever is needed in our lives. To express God is to be so open and receptive that God gets to have its glory through each of us. God is the creator and has given us. We don't have to stand in line for it. We don't have to pay for it. We don't have to go online for it. We don't have to text or dine for it. It's been given to us. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning when God created the heavens and the earth, it was without form and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And what does that mean but a void, waiting on direction? It's saying, color me, direct me. So your life, when you feel like you don't have what you have, that's dark and void. And then the universe is saying, okay, color it. Direct it. Tell me what you want. There's a law that acts as a butler for each of us that will take what we believe and trust in and direct it. Are you expecting better good? God bestowed that ability to each of us. The dictionary defines create as cause to be, to exist, to bring into being, to originate. God being first cause, created through divine ideas, perfect patterns created in divine mind, and humanity, which is second cause, was created from a perfect pattern, a divine idea. We must not get caught up in this body, because it's going to do some things, and then it's going to leave. But the spirit of you remains.
Amen.
That's eternal life. Not dependent upon this suitcase. How many of us keep a suitcase for 50 years?
That's true.
When Ross got some good suitcases for $39.99. This body is not going to stay here forever. But what we're doing with the soul of our being is what remains.
Yes.
That's why when some loved ones leave and their loved ones can feel something bursting, they can still smell the perfume or the cologne. They can still remember the wisdom and the knowledge and the insight and the pearls of wisdom to them. What we're supposed to learn when we come to this basic place is to not get caught up in the physical, but to jump with 2 feet in the spiritual. And if you jump with 2 feet in the spiritual, you will stand taller than the human can ever stand tall. We marvel at people that are 7 feet, but with God, you can stand 100 feet. We've come to leave a legacy so that somebody remembers wisdom and kindness and love when our body is no longer here.
Yes.
We're created through the imaging power of God. A picture and expectation in God's mind. That image was and is a perfect pattern still within us today. It is the Christ that was in us. We remind you that Christ is not Jesus' last name, but it is our individual daughtership and sonship in heaven. So with that image, we get to utilize that likeness to co-create the life we want and expect to live. We get to call forth the perfect pattern from God's mind. Carol Lundy, who wrote a book called You Are in the Bible, reminds us that we can take God's perfect pattern of abundance and call it forth. The perfect pattern of whole health and call it forth. The perfect pattern of a prosperous relationship and call it forth. There is no reason when you're standing in the Spirit of God to have to argue. We can agree to disagree. And when it's not going your way, walk away. Turn the other cheek doesn't mean to stand there and be abused. If they get you on one and you talk to them and they don't feel you, that means turn the other way and get on up out of there. That happens in all relationships. When Reverend Paul and I don't see eye to eye, somebody got to walk away. And then I'll keep it moving. And then he'll go buy you some flowers. But what does that say? You know what? Let's come back to peace. That's what it is. To walk away and stay away because you want to be right. There are people that want to be right that never have peace in their lives. Because there's only one right one perfect one, and that's God. We are God's workers in spirit. We were a spiritual idea made manifested in the physical. According to Romans, which talks about the exalted thoughts that's located in the head, it says, for what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. And that's simply stating the creative power of God is living in each of us. If you've ever experienced any kind of good, that means good is running forth through you. And all it's asking is that you recognize it. We can create good or ill according to our predominant thinking, what we're expecting. We have made many errors, mistakes. We've caused pain and misfortune because we have this power that God has given us. But until we learn to expect, embrace, and enjoy greater, we will continue to repeat the errors and mistakes. See, when God gave us the power, God loved us so much. I give you choice and dominion, which means I'm not going to force you to choose my way. I'm going to set you free to discover it for yourself. Because when we force you to do something and it ain't in your heart,
Come on, man.
it's temporary. But when you discover it for yourself and you like it and you understand it and you're aware of it, then you come willingly.
That's right.
And when you come willingly, then I can work with you. That's why forcing our kids to do something, we can do it only for a while. When you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and even then, a 2-year-old can give you some issues. That's why he's out there. I mean, serious. We want people to see things and do things the way that we think. But we're just one individualized expression of God. In my house, there are many mansions. People use that in funerals and memorial services, but it's just not saying that I have a place for you when you leave. Because what good is that while we're here? Spirit is saying, I got a place for you. In my house are many mansions. That means many streams of consciousness, many streams of different religions.
That's right.
Many cultures, many looks, many sizes, many styles. In my house, that's a lot of rooms.
Yes.
There are many. So stop limiting. Let people be who they are.
Right.
If it's not your flavor, don't order it. Why do you think when you go to restaurants you got a menu? Why do you think in our jazz series you get to choose what concerts you come to? A lot of times we don't tell you when we have guest speakers, because if it ain't me, Reverend Jerry, I ain't coming. A lot of times y'all have parties and get-togethers and you may not tell the group one person that's coming, because you know everybody ain't coming if they come. Listen, if I don't stand up here and tell the truth and tell what we live, if I'm not addressing our everyday experience, what good is it?
Yes.
We've been preaching for 2,000 years. And look at the turmoil we're in. You can't just teach out of a book. You got to teach us how we look. We talk about how bad life is, but not even realizing that we're part of the life that we're talking about.
Well.
We want to say that I'm good, bless you. I'm good, I didn't do nothing. That's them. No, it's all of us. We're one. We're under the same umbrella, and that's God. God created all of His children with the same attributes and principles. So we got to come together. And when we see our neighborhoods, our jobs, our churches, our community not lifting up, that means that we're supposed to speak a word. We're supposed to stand in the gap. We're supposed to lift up and not talk about how bad it is.
Yes.
It's already bad.
Yeah.
Don't need a cheerleader. Okay. Okay. When we refuse to grow, our challenges, trials, and tribulations become more intense. Because when a person that is challenging and difficult, as we did, when situations come, whether it's saving your home, saving your health, saving your relationship, if you're not willing to change your thought, it will remain the same. And if you don't learn the lesson, it will become more intense.
Yes.
That's why we can't just pass our children through school. Because if they don't learn the second and third grade, how they gonna deal with the fourth grade?
Yes.
That's to us. If we don't learn the simplicity of our spiritual truth, how are we gonna live spiritually? Every part of God's creation, every part of it, groans, moans, when we're subjected to the misalignment of human thinking. When we're out of alignment with right thinking, we will moan and groan, which we've been doing. I like this, and to bring it up, I like this. I've been listening to Hornaday. Somebody brought me some tapes, because I've never heard it, but I've been listening to them. I like this because it talks about expectation and embracing and enjoyment. And it says that Hornaday gave a great example of expecting when the appearances are to the contrary. He spoke of a woman who was alone in the church, in the sanctuary. And she started practicing a wedding march. And Hornaday was on the side, watching her. And so he just saw her just watching and kind of practicing what she was going to do. And he said he figured that she was probably singing the wedding march in her song, in her mind. Here comes the bride. And he said that as he watched her, she turned and saw him. And he said that she seemed to be a little bit embarrassed. So he went up to her and asked, what's going on? What you doing? And she said, I'm practicing for my wedding. I'm practicing a perfect idea of my wedding. And he said, oh, wonderful. He said, so when's the wedding? She said, I don't know, because I haven't found the perfect man yet. before it can come forth.
Yes.
So he talked with her. And she said, I'm practicing a perfected idea of what I expect. And by her performing it, she was embracing the idea that she's expecting this perfect man to come into her life.
That's right.
And if she was singing a song in her head, that means she was enjoying the process. And Hornaday goes on to say that 2 years later, he performed a ceremony for her and that perfect man. All that is a seed for us.
That's right.
What are you expecting? What are you dreaming of? What are you desiring? What do you think you have need of? Because I say think you have need of because God has given us all that we need. But sometimes we forget and we feel we need. When you think you need, that's some extra steps. But when you know that when you expect and you have faith, that means you start to weave the pattern for that to come to you. In the beginning was nothing but dark and void. And out of that nothing, mind created something.
Yes. All right.
As a human thinketh, so is he and she. What we sow, so shall we reap. We can't just keep repeating it and knowing it up here. We got to feel it up here, and we got to demonstrate it in our soul.
Yes. Right. Amen.
Ernest Holmes reminds us to never limit our view of life, especially from past experiences. He reminds us our imagination is one of our greatest assets. It is the fire from on high.
Yeah.
We must prepare our mind to receive and expect the best that life has to offer. We don't have to look out and see others enjoying a great life when God has bestowed upon us the same opportunity. If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you change your thinking, you change your circumstance. If you change your thinking, your atmosphere has to change because there's an energy that's shifting. How do you think the sun and the rain and the tornadoes and all of that, that's a shifting of energy.
That's right.
Life is our mirror and will reflect back to us our expectations. Right back to the expector and the thinker. Life is not just something to be endured. Life is to be lived to the fullest and enjoyed to the highest. There is a power in the universe and we can all use it. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative possibilities.
Yes.
True life is the invisible essence and substance, that tangible stuff. And it's of every visible form. First, there has to be a thought. Then it has to be felt. Then you can walk into it.
Yes.
So often, new thought people just think it and think the stork is coming. But no, it comes through us. Think it, feel it. Truly.
That's true.
And it shall be.
That's true.
And it shall be. So whatever we're experiencing and going through, and mind you, not easy when you've been taught for 20, 30, 40 years to the contrary. But that's why we come here. To rise above the norm. To live better than average.
That's right.
To know something greater for ourselves. Because when we demonstrate it, it is demonstrated.
All right.
The universal goodness that we live in, its nature is goodness. Its nature is truth. Its nature is wisdom. Its nature is beauty. What we can expect from that is truth in our lives, wisdom in our thinking, beauty in our atmosphere, and goodness in our everyday living.
Yes. Yes.
How much are we willing to expect? How much are we willing to embrace around this idea that God loves us and there ain't nothing we can do about it? And how much are we willing to enjoy a greater experience? I don't care how good our lives have been thus far. Because if we stop right there, that's to limit God. I'm going to trust God for some more peace, more love, better relationships, abundance and prosperity in every area of my life. I've got to trust God more. And in trusting God more, that means I'm expecting greater. And if I'm expecting greater, that means it needs my participation, so I'm going to embrace it.
Yes.
Greater.
Yes.
And then whatever comes, I'm going to enjoy the journey and the process. Because as I enjoy it, as I'm skipping to the loop, my energy is going to bring forth
Yes.
even greater.
Yes.
When you're sad and mad, guess who's coming to you? But when your energy is lifted, when you're feeling like you belong, when you know that you are a son and a daughter of God, when you know it, there is just something about you, like we put on perfume, the aroma of spiritual truth and knowing.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
I'm done. Glasses broke. Glasses said, "Whoa, Reverend Expect, embrace, and enjoy. Penetrate through the challenges and the trials and tribulations and the difficult people. Because you called it forth. We don't like to think that, but we are magnets because we're energy.
Yeah.
So if they come to you, that means you're to grow, to allow them to grow.
Yes.
What good is spiritual information if you don't use it? Amen, and so it is.
And so